Marcus was 10 years old, sitting on the front porch in his Sunday clothes, swinging his legs because his feet didn't touch the ground yet. He looked at me and said, "Mama, I'm going to buy you a house with a big porch so you can sit outside and wave at everybody." That was 34 years ago. Marcus is 44 now. He blocked my number. He sent my letter back, unopened. I haven't heard his voice in 3 years and 8 months. He's alive, but I've had to grieve him like he's not. My name is Lorraine Delcourt. I'm 71 years old. I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, in the same house I've lived in for 34 years. 3 bedrooms. One of them is mine. One of them belongs to a boy who hasn't slept in it since 2001. And one of them just sits there. Door open, bed made, like it's waiting for something I've stopped being able to name. I make coffee every morning, 1 cup. I used to make a whole pot. Now it's just the 1 cup, and even that feels like too much sometimes. I reach up and open the cabinet, and there he is, Marcus, 8 years old, holding a fish he caught at False River, grinning so big you can see where his 2 front teeth used to be. I taped that picture inside the cabinet door. Lord, I don't even remember when, years ago. And every morning I open that door and there's my boy. I don't stare at it. I don't linger. I just see it. The way you see a crack in the wall you've walked past 1,000 times. You know it's there. You stop trying to fix it. My phone sits on the counter, plugged in, face up, right next to the coffee. I check it every morning. I'm not expecting anything. I'm not, but my hand does it anyway. Picks it up, looks at the screen, puts it back down. The body has a memory of its own, I think. It remembers when that phone used to mean something, when Wednesday nights meant Marcus was calling, when a buzz at dinner time meant somebody wanted to tell me about their day. Now it's the pharmacy, or Cora from next door asking if I need anything from the store, or Denise on Sundays. Denise still calls. My daughter, she's in Atlanta. She calls every Sunday like clockwork, and I love her for it. I do, but the phone doesn't ring the way it used to. Not from the person I keep it face up for. I tend my garden most mornings. Tomatoes, peppers, herbs. It gives my hands something to do. Marcus used to help me water that garden when he was small. He'd hold the hose and get more water on himself than on the plants. I'd fuss at him, and he'd laugh and do it again. That garden is 34 years old. Marcus is 44. And the distance between those 2 numbers is where I live now. You want to know what this house used to sound like? I'll tell you. It sounded like the radio turned up too loud because I was cooking and I couldn't hear it over the stove fan. It sounded like Marcus and Denise fighting over the bathroom. Lord, those 2 could argue about a doorknob. It sounded like my mama sitting at the kitchen table shelling peas, talking about somebody from church who'd done something she disapproved of, which was everybody. Sunday dinners. That's what I think about most. After church, I'd come home and start cooking. Red beans and rice, smothered chicken, bread pudding, the real kind, with the whiskey sauce, the way my mama taught me. The table would be full. My mama, the kids, sometimes my sister, Yvette, and her boys. The noise in this house, I'm telling you. You couldn't hear yourself think. And I'd stand at that stove stirring the roux, and I'd think, Lord, can I just have 5 minutes of quiet? I got my quiet. I got all the quiet I'll ever need. Marcus was a good boy. I don't say that the way people say it when they're trying to convince you. I say it because it's true. He was quiet. Not shy, just quiet. He watched things, took things in. Denise would talk your ear off from the minute she woke up till she fell asleep. Marcus would sit there and listen, and then say one thing that made you realize he'd been paying attention the whole time. He caught that fish at False River when he was 8. I took them both out there one Saturday, me and the kids, no plan, just drove out. Denise got bored in 10 minutes and sat in the car reading. Marcus sat on that bank for 3 hours, didn't say a word. Then that fish bit, and you would have thought he'd won the Super Bowl. He held it up. This little thing couldn't have been 6 inches. And he said, "Mama, can we put it on the wall?" I said, "Baby, that fish is smaller than my hand." He didn't care. He was so proud. I took the picture. That's the one in the cabinet. And I remember, this was later, he must have been 10, maybe 11. We were sitting on the front porch after church, still in our Sunday clothes. His feet didn't reach the ground yet. He was swinging his legs, looking out at the street, and he said, "Mama, I'm going to buy you a house with a big porch so you can sit outside and wave at everybody." I said, "Is that right?" He said, "Yes, ma'am, a big one, with rocking chairs." He was 10. He believed every word of it, and I believed him too, not about the house, about the kind of man he was going to be, the kind of son. He grew up. He did well in school, well enough, went to college in Houston, got a job in computers, something with projects and management. I didn't understand all of it, but I was proud. He called every Wednesday. That was our thing, Wednesday nights. He'd call and tell me about his week, and I'd tell him what I cooked, and we'd talk about nothing for 30 minutes, and it was the best part of my week. I didn't know that then. You don't know what the best part is until it's gone. Denise was the one who called every day. Marcus was once a week, but his once a week was steady. It was there, like the foundation of a house. You don't think about it because it holds. Then one day he called to tell me he was getting married, a woman named Tanya. He sounded happy. I said, "When do I get to meet her?" He said, "Soon, Mama." He said soon, and I think we both meant it. I think he meant it when he said it. I just don't think soon ever came. I'm going to tell you what happened. Best I can anyway, because the truth is, I don't fully know. And that might be the worst part of all this. Marcus married Tanya at a courthouse in Houston. I found out after. He said it was small, just the two of them. I said, "Marcus, your mama is small too. I wouldn't have taken up much room." He didn't say anything, just went quiet the way he does, the way he did. That quiet I used to think meant he was fine. After the wedding, the calls started slipping. Wednesday became every other week, then once a month. Then it was me calling and him saying, "I'll call you back, Mama." He didn't. I'd wait. I'd check the phone. I'd tell myself, he's busy. He's got a new wife. He's building a life. That's what they're supposed to do. But something was off, and I could feel it the way you feel weather changing before you see the clouds. So I did something. And I need to be honest about this, because if I'm going to sit here and tell my story, I have to tell the whole thing. I flew to Houston. I didn't call first. I didn't ask. I just bought a ticket and showed up at his door because I was scared, and I thought if I could just see his face, I'd know what was wrong and I could fix it. That's what mothers do, right? We fix things. Marcus opened the door and I could see it. He wasn't happy to see me. Not angry. Worse. He was shut down. That quiet again. Tanya was there. Polite, but she stayed in the kitchen. I sat on the couch and I tried to talk to him, and it was like talking to a window. He nodded. He said the right words, but he wasn't there. I stayed one night in a hotel, flew home the next morning, and I know now, that visit was a mistake. I shouldn't have gone without asking. Scared people do desperate things, and I was desperate. But showing up like that, uninvited, at his home, at his new life, I pushed when I should have waited. I see that now. The calls stopped after that, completely. For 2 months, nothing. Then one Wednesday evening, I was watching Wheel of Fortune. I remember because someone was trying to solve the puzzle, and I was yelling the answer at the television. The phone rang. Marcus. His voice was flat, like he'd practiced what he was going to say. Mama, I think it's better for me if we don't talk for a while. I said, What do you mean a while? How long is a while? He said, I can't get into it right now. I said, Marcus, what did I do? And he said, the thing I've turned over in my head every day since. He said, It's not about one thing. I said, Then tell me what it's about. He said, I can't do this. And he hung up. I called back 4 times. The 4th time he answered and said, Please stop calling me. That was the last time I heard my son's voice, 3 years and 8 months ago. Within a week, my number was blocked. His Facebook, gone. I wrote a letter, 3 pages, front and back, in my own hand. It came back unopened. It's not about one thing. I've taken that sentence apart 1,000 ways. If it's not about one thing, then it's about everything. And if it's about everything, then I don't know where to start. I was strict. I know that. I expected a lot from him. When he was 16 and his grades were slipping, I told him he was throwing his life away. I meant it as fear. I was afraid for him. But maybe he heard it as something else. Maybe he heard me say, You're not enough. I didn't mean that. But I'm not the one who gets to decide what he heard. I wasn't a perfect mother. I know that. But I don't know how not perfect turns into gone. I don't know how the woman who packed his lunch and drove him to school and sat up with him when he had the chicken pox becomes someone he has to block. There's a distance between what I did wrong and what happened that I can't cross. And I've been standing on this side of it for almost 4 years. You want to know what it looks like? This thing I'm living with? I'll show you. Sundays, I still cook too much rice. Every single Sunday. I make a pot that could feed 4 people and it's just me. I portion the extra into little containers. Cora gets some and the rest goes in the freezer. My freezer is full. I'm talking full. There's rice in there from months ago. I can't stop making it. My hands just do it. They remember a table that isn't there anymore. I still check the driveway when I hear a car slow down. Every time. Doesn't matter what time of day. A car slows down and my head turns toward the window, and for 1/2 of 1 second I think, maybe. And then the car keeps going. And I go back to whatever I was doing. I still answer the phone on the first ring, every time. Doesn't matter who it is. Cora laughs about it. She says, Lorraine, you pick up before it even finishes ringing. I do, because what if the one time I let it go to voicemail is the one time it matters? Every October I go to the Walgreens over on Airline Highway and I buy a birthday card. For Marcus. I stand in that aisle for 20 minutes, reading cards, trying to find the right one. Like the right card is going to make a difference. I take it home. I sit at the kitchen table. I write in it. Happy birthday, Marcus. I love you. I miss you. Mama. I sign it. I seal the envelope, and then I put it in the closet, in a shoebox, next to the other 3. 4 birthday cards in a shoebox, signed, sealed, no address to send them to. He moved and I don't have the new one. Sometimes I pick that box up and hold it. It's light, but it's not light enough. I have a neighbor, Cora Thibodeau. She's been next door for 19 years. Good woman. She lost her husband Remy to cancer, so she knows grief. She knows what it's like to lose somebody, but she lost somebody the way the world understands, with a funeral and flowers and people bringing food. This thing with Marcus, she tries to understand it. She does try. She came over one morning with coffee and she said, Lorraine, have you tried just calling him? And I had to say, Cora, he blocked my number. There is no calling him. She went quiet. Then she said something I think about all the time. She said, That's not grief, Lorraine. That's jail. And I thought, jail is close. But in jail you know your sentence. You know when it ends. This doesn't have an end. There's no date on the wall. There's no parole hearing. There's just tomorrow. And the day after that. And the phone that doesn't ring. You can't bring flowers to somebody who's still alive. You can't hold a service. You can't even say, I lost my son, because people look at you and say, oh no, what happened? And then you have to say, nothing happened. He just doesn't want me anymore. And there's no card for that. There's no casserole for that. There's no prayer the pastor can say on Sunday that covers this. I go to church. I sit there. I pray. But I don't know what I'm praying for anymore. I used to pray for Marcus to call. Now I just pray that he's safe. That's all I've got left. I should tell you about Amara. That's Marcus's daughter, my granddaughter. She's 7 years old. I've never met her. I've never held her. I don't know what her voice sounds like. A woman from my church, Sister Pauline. She has a niece who follows Tanya on the internet. One Sunday after service, Sister Pauline came up to me in the parking lot and said, Lorraine, I have something to show you. She held out her phone. It was a picture from Amara's birthday party. Amara in a yellow dress, blowing out candles, smiling. She looks like Marcus. Same eyes, same face. I saw my granddaughter for the first time on a stranger's phone in a church parking lot. I sat in my car for 20 minutes after that. I didn't cry. I'm past crying. I just sat there with my hands on the steering wheel, looking at nothing. Because what do you do with that? What do you do when you meet your grandchild in a screenshot? Last Thanksgiving, Denise called from Atlanta. We talked for 40 minutes. It was nice. It was. We laughed about something. I can't remember what. And when we hung up, I walked to the dining room and looked at the table. I had set 3 places, not 2. 3. I didn't even remember doing it. I don't think Marcus will ever hear this. I mean, I really don't. He's not looking for me on the internet. He's not searching my name. He made his decision and he's living with it. Or without me, however you want to say it. But if he does, if somehow this finds its way to him, Marcus, I need you to hear me. Just this once. I'm still here. This house is still here. Your room is still here. I know that sounds foolish. A grown man's childhood bedroom, still sitting there with the same bedspread and the same poster on the wall. I know. But I can't change it. I can't make it into something else. That room is the last place where you were still mine. I'm not angry, Marcus. I was. Lord, I was angry for a long time. I'd lie in bed at night and have whole arguments with you in my head, all the things I wanted to say, all the things I thought you deserved to hear. But I wore that anger out. I used it all up. What's left isn't anger. It's just tiredness and missing you. That's all that's left. I'm tired and I miss you. That's the whole thing. I don't know what I did. I've gone over it. You know I've gone over it. Every conversation, every visit, every time I said something I shouldn't have said or didn't say something I should have. And I can't find the thing that's big enough to explain this. I know I was hard on you. I know I pushed. I know that when you were 16 and struggling, I said you were throwing your life away, and maybe that landed somewhere I didn't mean it to land. If you told me, if you said, Mama, here's what it was, I would listen. I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't defend myself. I would just listen. I don't get that chance, but I would take it if I did. I have 4 birthday cards in the hall closet, in a shoebox. Every October, I write you one. I sign it. I seal it. I've got nowhere to send it. I know that's foolish too. I don't care. And Marcus, I saw Amara's picture. Once. She was in a yellow dress, blowing out candles. She looks like you. She looks just like you. She's beautiful. and she doesn't know I exist. That one. I can't stay on that one too long. That one is too heavy to hold. I'm not waiting for you to explain, Marcus. I stopped waiting for that a long time ago. I'm just waiting for you to let me hear your voice. One time. You don't even have to say anything. Just breathe into the phone so I know you're there. That would be enough. Lord help me. That would be enough. I love you. That's not something you can block. I don't know who's watching this. I don't know if you're sitting where I'm sitting or sitting where Marcus is sitting. But if your phone is quiet, and it shouldn't be, if you're in a house that used to be loud and now it's just you and the television and the sound of your own breathing, I want you to know something. You're not crazy. This is real. This is a real thing that happens to real people. And it doesn't mean you weren't a good parent. It might not mean anything at all. It just means the phone doesn't ring. And that is its own kind of grief, the kind nobody brings a casserole for. And if there's somebody listening to this who hasn't called their mama in a while, I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's not my place. I'm just going to tell you that she's probably awake right now, and her phone is face up on the counter, and she'd answer on the first ring. I promise you that, on the first ring. I turn the porch light on every night. I've done it for years. Marcus told me once when he was small that he was going to buy me a house with a big porch so I could sit outside and wave at everybody. He was 10 years old. He believed it. I never got the big porch, but I turned the light on anyway. Not for him, not really, but not for him. It's on right now. If you know this silence, share this with someone who understands. And if you need to make a phone call tonight, make it.